Frozen foods are now a part of modern living. Every year, the work of distribution gets more complex as quantities are increased and new varieties introduced. The brand names of all these top-quality products are household words throughout the country, and every single pack must reach the customer in perfect condition. Of course, maintaining top quality calls for care and planning at every stage. A great deal of expert knowledge, skill and experience goes into the manufacture and packing of these products. But all this effort will be completely wasted unless an equal amount of skill and experience is applied to storage and handling. Mechanical aids vary. Sometimes high lift trucks are used, in this case with forks, seen here handling pea tanks. On other occasions, the same type of truck handles goods on base pallets. At Wall's Gloucester Factory, an alternative method is used. This is a reach truck and is fitted with a hydraulic clamp instead of forks. Let's see how it works. The blades open and close, and when the load is gripped, it can be moved sideways in either direction. This gauge shows the pressure applied to the load, and whatever pressure is required is pre-selected. Building each load correctly is extremely important. The shape, size, and weight of each type of load has been worked out in advance for safe and economical handling and storage. For instance, here is a diagram of a typical bird's eye pallet load packed in fiberboard cartons. And here's the pattern for Wall's ice cream cans. Other companies have their own load patterns for each product. Now let's imagine that you are driving a clamp truck. Correct stacking is very important, so don't clamp a load if you think it's unsafe to do so. If you're in doubt, look at the diagram again. Having checked and being satisfied with this load, lower the clamp blades until they grip the bottom of the load, and the gauge shows the correct pressure. Raise the load, and retract. You're now ready to move into the storage area. Drive your truck cautiously and keep a good lookout. Remember to sound a warning at corners or whenever your vision is obstructed. Arriving at the storage area, you approach the stack at the correct angle and in the right position, at the same time extending the load ready for stacking. This load is being safely stacked to an overall height of no less than 17 foot 6 inches. Place the load neatly on the stack to ensure an equal distribution of weight on the loads underneath. This is very necessary to avoid damage to the product and to ensure maximum stability of the stack. Now, this operation may have seemed simple to you, and so it is when you're fully trained. But there are faults that you can make when you start learning to drive. You can imagine the skill and accuracy required to stack to these fine limits at these heights. For example, correct positioning of the blades when they grip the load is very important. Here, the blades are too high from the ground. The blades must always be positioned at ground level, like this. Now the load will be lifted cleanly and safely. Here's another demonstration of faulty operating. This shows how important it is for correct pressure to be applied to the clamp blades. Too much might damage the product. And too little, well, you can see for yourself. A sound initial training is the basis of good operating. This handbook is the basis of training for drivers, and even a good supervisor reads it. Having first mastered the truck's controls, all would-be drivers must practice the set of exercises in the handbook. For example, placing a single load. Approach the target area at right angles and place the load accurately with one swing and without the necessity of backing out and shifting sideways. Placing loads adjacent to one another, exactly in line and with a clearance between the two. Stacking and unstacking. First placing one load on top of another and then tiering the loads 3 or 4 high. This will help you use the mast tilt control properly. Adjacent stowing in depth. This emphasizes correct approach and accurate judging of gaps to be left between loads. Placing loads in block stack load formation. This is quite a difficult exercise and needs a lot of practice. There's no room to maneuver here. This booklet, in addition to providing safety rules and regulations, is in fact a truck driver's driving license. You only get this when you've passed all the tests. Don't forget to study the various load diagrams of the products you'll be handling. Each one is specially designed to suit packs of different shapes and sizes, and it's essential that you should get to know exactly how each load is made up. Let's watch the expert walls operators at work in the Gloucester Factory. A vehicle comes in to collect its load of ice cream, and the clamp truck driver gets ready to move the cans into the loading bay. Our driver approaches the stack correctly and swings the clamp into position in one movement. Now, with the mast vertical, he raises the clamps to grip the topmost unit load, making sure that the blades are applied to the base of the load. He's selected the appropriate clamp pressure for the product, and so there's no danger of the load collapsing. This is only achieved after plenty of practice. You won't do it like this the first time, but keep trying. It's cold in here. The temperature in this store is -20 degrees Fahrenheit, equal to -29 degrees centigrade, and the work calls for accuracy and speed of operation. The vehicle has now arrived at the cold store and is reversing towards the loading bay. Meanwhile, inside the cold store, our driver is moving the consignment into the loading bay. Carefully and accurately, he places the load onto a board to enable it to be moved into the vehicle. You'll see how precisely the load is positioned. This is important because of the small tolerance of space between loads when they're placed side by side in the lorry. The vehicle is now in position against the large doors of the loading bay, which have been designed to prevent the escape of cold air from the store whilst loading. Each unit load contains 60 cans and weighs over a ton. This vehicle will carry over 10 tons and can be loaded in as many minutes. Efficient handling at every stage, from the end of the production line, through storage and into the road vehicle, not only maintains the quality of the product, but also enables the work to be done swiftly. Efficient handling. This means you, your care, your common sense, your enthusiasm. The products we handle must reach the customer promptly and in top condition. Every one of our millions of customers must be a satisfied customer, like this one.